Okay, thanks for joining everyone. My name is Clever McCory and I'm the Partner Relations Manager at Bytespeed. So really my role involves having strategic partners that provide a lot of value to our customers. And I'm excited today, and one of our very great partners is Optoma. And you learn more about their interactive flat panel and projector options today, but mostly discussing the interactive flat panel. So I'm joined by Roland. Roland is the technical guru over at Optoma. Um, I like, and then we've got Eric as well. Eric is on the sales side. So you'll hear a little bit from both, but thanks again for joining. So we've worked with Optoma for several years now, and as you know, Bytespeed is a nationwide company. We've had several school districts adopt their interactive flat panels. I can think of a few just to name them, and if maybe some names are familiar to you and you'd like a reference or something like that, be sure to reach out. We've worked with Valmeyer in Illinois, Kansas Public Schools, which is funny enough in Oklahoma, Central Valley Public Schools in North Dakota, Benedictine military schools in Georgia. I could keep naming. Park Rapids in Minnesota, Deweyville in Texas, Lodge Grass in Montana. I mean, I keep going on and on and on, but it's obvious the value that they provide is really evident, and I'm excited today again for you all to hear firsthand about the magicians that are behind the scenes making things happen to get this wonderful product into your guys' hands. We do have a current promotion going on with them, so make sure to reach out to your dedicated Bytespeed representative or myself. We'd be glad to help you. But yeah, I'm mostly excited just for the conversation today. So thanks again for making the time. Roland, I'll let you take over at this point.
Yeah, thanks very much, Clever. Good morning, everybody. Eric, I don't know if you had anything you wanted to say before I jumped into the demo.
Yeah, I just wanted to let everybody know that we appreciate you signing on. As Clever said, Bytespeed is one of our best partners out there, and we look forward to doing anything we can to make your classroom more efficient and your experience a pleasant one with Bytespeed and Optoma. So I'll let you kind of take it away. You're the star of the show, Roland, so I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. Good morning, everybody. I'm Roland Hamilton, Technical Sales, Optoma. Before we get going, just want to point out that in the Zoom, in the webinar toolbar, you should have a Q&A box, which will open up a spot for you to type in questions. So please feel free to use that question dialog box as any questions come to mind, and we'll do our best to answer them all on the session. There are a lot of people on with us today. Thank you for joining. If we can't get to your questions, we'll answer them in follow-up. So we're here to talk about the 5 Series Creative Touch interactive boards from Optoma. Optoma has been bringing these interactive LCD panels to the market since mid-2018. As Clever mentioned, we've been very successful with a lot of K-12 educational organizations, as well as government, corporate, healthcare applications. These boards fit into a wide range of applications beyond the classroom, but you'll see why they are ideal for the classroom. Since we only have a short amount of time, I really want to focus on the high points, the things that Optoma offers in our Creative Touch solution that our competitors do not, things you're only going to get with the Creative Touch solution from Optoma. But before we do that, I want to just tell you some of the basics, what these boards are, how you can use them, what they can do, and then we'll get into the the latest and greatest features, essentially. So the Creative Touch boards are available in 3 sizes, 65, 75, and 86-inch diagonal, and all 3 sizes are 4K UHD resolution. So excellent clarity, detail, picture reproduction. If you put these in front of people doing video editing or photo editing or CAD design or modeling in SketchUp, everybody's going to be impressed by the image quality. Nobody's going to have any complaints in that regard. And also understand that these boards are commercial displays, so they're much brighter than the consumer television sets you may be used to. And if you've been using projectors in your schools in the past, You're probably familiar with having to close the shades and dim the lights. These panels are extremely bright, and you will not have to do any of that work in controlling the light. These panels are fantastic for full lights on viewing. You will not have to worry about dimming the lights. You can just go from other classroom activity straight into working with the board without having to adjust what's going on in the room. I'll also point out, well, while we're talking about the glass, let me open screen markup here, and then let me change the color. That's a poor color. Let's get a nice red color. I'll demo on screen. These boards are 40-point touchscreens, and the touch is fast, accurate. It works all over the screen all the time, every time. There are no dead points or anything like that. But I really want to highlight how the glass is 7H hardness rated, anti-glare, anti-fingerprint tempered glass. Let me get a better color. Maybe the black shows up a little better there. You can see the black a little better on screen. 7H hardness rated glass is effectively the scratch resistance of quartz crystal. So I can take my regular set of keys and take my door key, and I'm not afraid of scratching the glass. And you can see I'm putting markup with my key right on screen. They're extremely durable, extremely scratch resistant, and bear in mind that the case is all metal. The only plastic on the outside of these is really the power button. So they're extremely durable. And I'll also demo the palm erase feature. Anytime you have markup on screen, if you want to erase it, you can just put a palm flat on screen and it turns into an eraser. So, and I'll also point out that the boards feature 20-watt stereo speakers. So more than enough sound for classroom, conference room, training spaces. If you are working in a room, where there's a divider wall and you want to be able to open it up into a bigger space, the boards do feature audio outputs. So you can feed them into your PA system or your, in-ceiling speaker array, whatever you've got going on in terms of sound. So what can you do with these boards? There are three main modes of use. Out of the box, the boards think of them like a giant Android tablet. And let me change my view so you can see a little better. So out of the box, the boards are a giant Android tablet, essentially. They run a proprietary version of Android 9, give the boards power and internet, and there's a whole world of things you can do just standalone with the board itself. I'll point out that we do offer an app store. Many manufacturers in this space just preload all the apps they have, and that's what you get, no more, no less. We provide an app store, the Optoma App Marketplace. We pre-install our core applications, the apps we think everybody's going to need, the web browser, the document viewer, the whiteboard software. We preload the core stuff and then make a further selection of apps available from our app store. I'll point out that we do offer all the major video teleconference apps. So Zoom, Skype, Teams, Cisco WebEx, and GoToMeeting are all available. And you can pair the board. One of the most frequently asked questions is there a camera? Does it come with a camera? Well, there's no camera built in, but you can pair the board with really any web camera you like. Optoma sells a 4K monitor top web camera that's perfect to pair with the board, but you can use really any web camera you want, and it'll function in conjunction with those video teleconference apps. And there are some other uses. We'll get into a couple of them. But I also want to point out that I've downloaded some of the most popular apps from our app store, including Wall Street Journal, BBC News, the Prime Video Player, Google Earth, as well as a whole selection of K-12 oriented applications. So Class Dojo, Duolingo, Quizzes, Socrative, Khan Academy, Kahoot. We've made available a ton of apps that are perfect for the K-12 classroom. The second mode of use, so you can do a lot with just the board standalone. You can also connect to your external computers. So we are plug and play compatible with Windows, Mac OS, Chrome OS, as well as Linux platforms. So if you wanted to connect Raspberry Pi in your STEM labs, perfectly compatible, and they're plug and play. So, when you connect your board to a Windows machine, Windows just spins for a second and says configuring your device, and then within a second or two, it just works. And here you see I'm here I am in my, happens to be a Windows 10 laptop that I'm connected to, and I have full touch control. And this is an example. This is a 3D anatomy program I like to work with. And I like to point out how you'll notice that Windows recognizes multi-touch and gestures. The boards are, or the drivers are compatible with Windows Ink. And the easiest way to demo that is here in this software. One finger rotates the model, 2 fingers moves the model, and I can also pinch to zoom like I'm used to on a phone or tablet. So really rich functionality. You can connect these boards with desktops, laptops. You can purchase Nook computers from Bytespeed or Chromebox computers and install them behind the boards. Let me go ahead and actually change my view here. I want to let me spotlight my video for everybody, just in case, just to make it easy for you so you don't have to fool around with the Zoom controls. And also keep in mind, any questions that come up, please enter them into the question dialog box. And the third mode of use, we sell slot-in computers available through Optoma and Bytespeed. We sell an i5 and an i7 card slot PC that physically install in the side of the board, turning them into a giant Windows 10 or Windows 11 all in one. You know, if you want that fully integrated, one power cord into the wall and everything's built in, including a Windows platform, we do sell a slot-in computer option. So you've got the built-in Android, you can connect to your external computers, you can go with the slot-in computer option, and we also make available a whole world of wireless sharing. So I can take my iPhone here and just AirPlay to the board as if it were an Apple TV. So I swipe into my little quick menu where I can turn my Wi-Fi on and off and what have you, and I'm just going to select the board, and I can start AirPlaying to this board as if it were an Apple TV. And let me go into an app that will go into landscape. And there you can see I'm sharing real time from my phone up to the board. And as I move it and zoom it, it's all happening real time. And you can share from multiple devices at once. So up to 4 devices can be cast to the board at once, and the board will go into a split screen. So iOS devices, iPhones and iPads, and some Macs can AirPlay to the board as if it's an Apple TV. Don't need any software download. Just make sure you're on the same network, and the AirPlay function in your device will automatically find the board and make it very easy to cast. You can also cast without downloading any software directly from the Chrome browser. So if you're a one-to-one school and all your kids have Chromebooks, very easy for them to cast up to the board from the Chrome browser with no software download. If you want to share from Android devices, you know, Android phone, tablet, or PC or Mac for that matter, if you want to do it wirelessly, you just need to install a little client program. It's called Creative Cast. It's developed by Optoma. Install it once and you can easily wirelessly share up to the board. So let's talk about the latest and greatest from Optoma. Well, first of all, I'll point out that many of the menus and most things on our board are customizable. So if I want to change the background image, very easy to change my home screen image. Let me change to this different mountainscape, right? So very easy to change the background image. I can also customize my home screen icons. So let me change the view so you can see a little better. If I don't want this tutorials link here. So by default, we put a link to all our video tutorials right on the home screen. If I don't want that, I want to put Zoom in there, for example, I can just press and hold that icon and then pick a different app that's going to occupy that space. So very quickly, I've just customized my background and customized my home screen icons. The next thing I'd like to point out, let me get that video playing again for a moment. And I want to draw your attention over on the right side of my screen here. This looks like it could be a Wi-Fi antenna. This is actually an active pen holder. Removing the pen from the holder is going to perform different functions for me. If I'm on the home screen, it's going to launch the whiteboard software, so I can start a lesson in seconds just by picking up the pen. But here I am in a video, and if I want to do markup here, it's as simple as removing the pen, and it's going to pause the video and initiate screen markup for me. That's all I have to do is lift the pen and I can immediately start writing on the board. And it's that simple. And the active pen holder, the quick draw pen, we call it, is an Optoma only. I don't know of another manufacturer that offers an active pen holder that lets you initiate different functions on the board. So very easy to use. Going back to the home screen, I want to point out our single sign-on option. So right on the home screen at the top here, I've got a button that drops down an option for single sign-on. When I click sign in, it lets me sign into my Optoma account or sign into my Google account. And most users are probably utilizing a Google account, particularly if you're a Google Classroom school. But the easiest, by far and away, the easiest way to sign in is using this QR code option. I can simply take my phone, open the camera application, scan this QR code, and log into my Google account through my phone. Bear with me a moment. I got an error message. Let me just do that one more time. Let's do this again. Let me relaunch that. And there we go. It logged me in simply by scanning the QR code. My phone has my Google credentials stored, so I don't need to type any on-screen passwords, and I'm signed in across the board. So that loaded in the file system under cloud storage. My entire Google account is now loaded directly into the file system. And it also has, you're going to see the further function that single login provides. So let's talk about Creative Board. Creative Board is our digital whiteboard program. And here's the icon on the home screen. And it's really, if we had to, pinpoint one application on the board that's the core application, what you're going to use most often, it's more than likely Creative Board. Here we are in our digital whiteboard platform. And you notice how, because I'm signed in, all of my previous files are loaded for me and ready to go from that sign in. The cloud servers, the Optoma cloud, remembers every file or every whiteboard session I've been working on, and it puts them here for me to easily access, and pick up where I left off, essentially. Here we are in the whiteboard space. First thing we'll talk about is the floating toolbar, called the floating toolbar because you can position it anywhere on screen. I can drag it around. In addition to being able to drag it around, I can also press and hold, and it's going to snap to a location. So if I want it here, I just press and hold, and the toolbar snaps to where I want to put it. I'll point out, you've seen me writing on the board with my finger. Because these boards are infrared touchscreens, IR touchscreens, they will respond to anything. Anything can be used as a stylus. So here's just a regular yellow number 2 pencil. The board will recognize it, no problem. It'll recognize your finger, but we do include pens. We include a couple of these pens, and the pens have special functions when paired with the board. They're dual-sided. There's a fine point and a broad point. And let me erase this. I can quickly program each side of the pen to perform a different function. Let me pick a nice color here. I like this navy blue. So I've got a thick navy blue marker, and say I want the other side to be an orange highlighter. I've now got 2 functions on the one pen. One side of the pen writes, other side of the pen can highlight. I can also program either side to function as a small eraser. So if I'm making shapes or something, like here, let's make a shape, like, oh, I messed this up, I can just quickly erase this, and there I've got a nice, perfect triangle. So sometimes you've got the palm eraser, but sometimes having a fine eraser works very well. Let me also point out before we move on that we have recently updated our board to include handwriting recognition function. So I can write hello and turn this into text, and the board recognizes that I was writing hello. I can then resize this. I can change the color. So really rich handwriting recognition function built in here. Let's talk about the backgrounds. You can change. So I like these gray backgrounds because they're high contrast and easy on the eyes, but you can have whatever background color you want. We have a full palette of colors that you can, use as a solid color background. But we also have templates, simple things like ruled line, graph paper, process flow charts, musical staff, right? There you can see the clefs on the left. Let me get out of the way a little bit. We've included musical staff, a whole bunch of sports fields to use. So here's a soccer background. Here's a football pitch, a football field. And then on and on, we've included about 100 different background templates, all appropriate for K-12 education. Periodic table, the structure of an atom with its nucleus and electron orbits. The list goes on and on. Geography, reading, math. You would be hard pressed to sort of exhaust the uses for the built-in templates. But let me clear the built-in template. I'll also point out that you can make your own background templates. You're not like locked into the ones we provide. The background templates are really just 16:9 images. If you create a 16:9 image file, you can save it as a template and work with it in that regard. So let's talk about before we move on to the very best functions, I'd also like to just quickly point out that we have included a whole array of 2D and 3D shape tools. So if, I'm not the best freehand drawer, it's very hard for, me to draw shapes that look like they're professionally done. So we have included a whole array of 2D and 3D shape tools. Here I've loaded some of the 3D shape tools, and I'll also point out that we have a ruler. We offer a ruler and a protractor function, and the ruler is particularly handy because if you draw a line next to it, the lines will snap to the ruler. So there, I just demoed how it helped me to draw a nice straight line. So let's talk about the really good stuff. In some form or another, we've already offered most of those functions for the last year or so. What we've added recently that's really just fantastic, and I think you're going to love, we have embedded Google Classroom right into our whiteboard space. So I signed on to my Google account from the home screen, and I created a dummy class called Pre-Algebra, right? And here, at the touch of a button, I can just open up that menu, and all my classroom materials are available for me to basically drag and drop into the board. So let's open up a quiz. Here's last week's quiz. It happens to be a Google form, and there it is. It's on linear functions, and I can fill in the quiz. I can enter selections, or I can also just use it to talk through examples or bring it up alongside a little XY axes and plot some of these and work through how we got to the, what are the right answers. So having the Google Classroom embedded menu, and again, that's an Optoma only. I don't know of another manufacturer that offers that functionality. The next thing I'd like to point out, which is equally as fantastic, is a built-in web browser. We've put a browser right in our whiteboard, which is super handy, very useful, very usable, and easy to use. I can resize it, I can move it around, I can make it full screen if I want to. And not only can I use this to locate information and get answers to questions and that sort of thing, but I can also use it to find material to put directly into my whiteboard. So let's say I want an image of Abraham Lincoln. I can just search for Lincoln and choose images, and I'm going to get a bunch of images of the car, but I want the president. Here's a few of Mr. Lincoln, and I can just press and hold here. If I want one of these images in my whiteboard, I just press and hold, and the image becomes available to drag and drop onto my whiteboard space. I can then resize this, move it around, and start doing markup right on top of it. So very easy to find and bring engaging content right into your lessons, right into the whiteboard space, and continue to be able to do markup on top of it and manipulate it and use all these tools together. In conjunction with the Google Classroom, you can augment your lessons very quickly with engaging material. Another point I'd like to point out to you, we've also embedded a camera window right in the whiteboard space. So I've got a document camera that's off screen that's looking at a $10 bill. There's my document camera off screen. And so it's very easy to bring in to your whiteboard space really engaging kind of exhibits. You can use this in conjunction with a USB microscope or a document camera. And these peripheral devices are becoming really inexpensive. And just they let you create really engaging lessons very simply, and it's very easy to use, right? I'd also like to touch on Optoma Management Suite. Optima Management Suite is our command and control platform. So from a web browser, your IT admins can log into an account, and their boards are tied to that account. And from that web interface, they can control and manage all the boards in a school, right? And two of the most important functions, they can do basic functions like power on, power off, scheduling, all the boards they want them to turn off at 5 p.m. every day. Very easy to set that up from that central management, Optima Management Suite, OMS. But the two most important functions are probably email trouble alerts. So as the IT department, they can receive an email that, hey, room 105 dropped off the internet. And so they can go and fix that problem before a teacher ever finds out that there was a problem in room 105. They can fix it proactively. The other the big piece that was, when we were developing this, we worked with our existing school customers to say, what do you want? What's going to really help you? What features do they need? And the number one thing they came back with, which we delivered on, is broadcast messaging. From that central management website, they can push out a full screen message, take over the board, and send out a message to all the boards in the school, or just a single board or a group. You can, when you set up the system, it's very easy to group all your displays, first floor, second floor, east wing, west wing. So if there's going to be some sort of fire system test only on the west wing and the second floor, very easy to isolate just those displays, send a message to just those displays. You can send simple things like today's assembly canceled, or here's this week's lunch menu, to more important, more pressing emergency alerts potentially. I'm trying to think if I missed anything really important. I mean, there are just a ton of widgets and easy to use tools in here. Countdown timers, screen spotlight tools, and all these tools persist across the platform, by the way. So here I go over onto my computer. Here I am on this computer. Usually this takes a second before the touch activates. Here I am on my Windows machine. I can utilize my spotlight tool. Let me go in here and change this, and there I can use it to keep focus on screen where I want it, right? One that I do use all the time, my countdown timer. We're only going to talk about this for another 5 minutes, and there's my timer running, and it'll minimize and float around. There's my floating timer now, ready for me to, keep an eye on. And when that timer expires, there's bells that ring and there's an on-screen alert. But the point I was making was that, let me go back to my home screen here. That timer persists across the platform, whether I'm on my connected computer or my on the Android home screen. Those tools all persist. The markup tools, the built-in widgets, and there's just not enough time. We're coming to the end of our session here, but understand that there are so many little features that are great features that I just don't have time to show you today. If you're interested in a demo, if you want to bring on your tech director or your superintendent or your principal or some of your colleagues, we're happy to do a personalized session for you. So organize it through your Bytespeed representative, and they'll join as well to make sure you're taken care of. And we'll be happy to show you exactly how this solution would fit within the technology your school already has going on. So if your school is using MacBooks or all your kids have Chromebooks, we can tailor the demo to you and show you exactly how this could be used in your school and how you can be successful with it. And to wrap things up, I'd like to say, I think the main benefits of this solution are going to be threefold: flexibility, ease of use, and powerful software tools. Flexibility in the sense that you've got the built-in Android system, right? Just give the board power and internet and you can do a ton of stuff with just the board itself. You can connect your external computers. You can connect to Chromebooks, Chromeboxes, very flexible in that regard. And you've got a world of wireless sharing built in and wireless collaboration. There are a ton of teachers can give quizzes that the students can answer from their phones via the cloud. Very powerful stuff. So very flexible and easy to use. Features like the active pen holder. There's not a lot to learn with these boards. 90% of the training I have to give to a new user is, here's how you get to the home button. There's your home button that brings you to this screen every time. Your inputs, your external computer can be labeled here. So it's very easy, one click. to navigate to my external computer, another click to navigate back home and into my applications. So very easy to use. And we've built in a ton of powerful software tools. Integrated Google Classroom, integrated web browser into our whiteboard, integrated camera window within our whiteboard. The list just goes on and on. So the Optoma Creative Touch solution does offer a ton of powerful features that nobody else has. So if you're considering interactive boards for your school, please consider Optoma. I don't think you'll be disappointed. And with that, I wonder if my colleague Eric has anything to add, or if not, I'll turn it back to Clever and the Bytespeed team. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, there's a question that came through, and we could address it while if, Eric prepares any remarks he may have. It says here, are there some default messages in the broadcast messaging, or could I have some messages that I used over and over?
Okay, so there are no default messages. You've got a couple options when it comes to sending broadcast messages to the boards through OMS. You can send a simple text message and it runs across the screen like a ticker, right? So you can just type in text, that's one option, or you can send an image, right? And if that's the way most schools utilize it, is sending an image file. And the easiest way to do it is to just develop a background in PowerPoint. Like here, I'll demo it real quick. Just bear with me 1 second to log into my account. It'll literally just take me 30 seconds or so. The best way to use it is develop a slide in PowerPoint and save it as an image. So you can make a background, you can make 3D text, you can make it say whatever you want to say, and then save it as an image. And yes, you can reuse them, because once you've saved that image on a computer, it's very easy to just keep recycling it and using it over and over again, or changing it. The other thing I'll point out is that because OMS is it's a web portal, which means it's essentially a web page. So you're not locked into using just your phone or just your computer. You can use mobile devices. So if the IT director or whoever handles these responsibilities is out at lunch and something comes up and a pressing alert needs to be issued, they can do it from their cell phone when they don't even have to be at the school location. Here, let me just this will only take a second. Let me send a full screen image message. So I developed an example here. Just bear with me. I'm gonna set this message to display for 12 seconds. And I'm gonna hit the go button, and there, from my computer, I just sent a message that is going to take over the board here. There, today's assembly has been postponed until further notice. So, and this is a good example. I just made this in PowerPoint. I just selected the blue background, added my text, choose a font, and then save as image. So it's very easy to create and manipulate those messages to be displayed via OMS. Thank you for your question. Really appreciate your engagement. If I don't see any other questions, so.
Okay, and I know we're at the 30-minute mark here and would like to be respectful of your time, but thanks again, everyone, for joining. As I mentioned, we do have a current really good promotion going with Optoma. For every panel that you get, you also get a free NUC as well. So if that's something you're interested in, please reach out to me or any of your dedicated account executives at Bytespeed. Would be glad to help you. I'll probably linger around for a minute or so, but we'll also send the recording out if you've got some other team members you'd like to share it with, or would like to refer to it later on in time. Would be glad to provide that for you as well. So just expect that via email.
And again, if you'd like a more personalized demo, you want to show the solution to some of your colleagues, please just get in touch with your Bytespeed rep and we'll be happy to set up a personal demo session for you.
Absolutely. We do that all the time, helping train teachers. I know you folks are busy with technology, you're managing so many different things. So if you just want to put us in front of your administrative folks or your teachers and make it easy for you to get them up and going, we'd be more than glad to do it.
And yeah, Matthew asked the question, how can I get the recording? Yes, we do have your email. You
Yes.
registered for the webinar, so we'll send out a follow-up email, or Bytespeed will.
Absolutely. We'll get that to you.
All righty. Well, if there's nothing else, thank you so much for your time and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everyone.